Daf Kuf Mem Aleph Amud Beis. We'll begin at Kuf Mem Aleph Amud Aleph, 2 lines from the bottom. Amar Revo, Amar Rabbi Eliezer, Amar Rabbi Yanai, Megarim Minol Chodesh V'lo Yoshen. You can scrape the clay off of a minol that's Chodesh, a new one, but not an old one. Because when you scrape it, you're peeling off some of the leather, and that's memachik. So you can be memach megar in the minol chodesh, the new one, but the old one, it's softer, and by scraping it, you'll remove it, and it's considered to be memachik. But ma megar, when you scrape it, what can you scrape it with? When a new shoe that you can scrape it, what are you scraping it with? Amar Rabbi Avo begav sakin. Even there, you have to use it with only the back of the knife. It's not with the regular part with the blade of the knife, but only the back of the knife. Amar lehahu saba. But however, a certain saba said, Sama didach mikam hadatana rebchia. You have to delete what you said. It's not correct. You have to delete it because of what we found what Rav Chia said. And he said, Rav Chia said, Ein megar loy minol chodesh loy minol yoshen. You can't scrape either of them. There's a problem of a machek. In both cases, we're concerned about the machek. And additionally, he said, V'lo yasach as ragel shemen. You should not pour oil on your foot. While it's in a shoe or a sandal, you shouldn't put oil in it. Oil also is oiling the leather is also a problem being a machik. That's working the leather. It's softening the leather. So that's also a problem. So you can't even pour it on your foot while your foot is in the shoe. But you could pour the oil on your foot. If it's not in the shoe or the sandal, if it's outside of it, you can pour it on your foot and then insert the foot into the minol. And similarly, he can pour oil on his body and then roll on a leather sheet or a leather mat. He can roll on it. Also, it's not a problem of memachek in that manner. If he's putting it on his body and he's not putting it directly onto the leather. And he doesn't have to be concerned. This that we said that it's mutter in an indirect manner, it's mutter, that's only when his intent is only to shine it, to polish it. But if his intent is to really work the leather, is to tan the leather, then it's awesome. Then it's also. Even in an indirect manner, it would still be also. For the Gemara allowed the pshita. Well, if his intention is to tan it, of course it's also. And even if it's to polish it, still, would anyone say that it's mutter? Everyone would agree that that's also. At least midrabanan, even though it's not ma'abed daraisa, but still midrabanan would be also. It has to be that what we're saying is that if it's only a minimal amount of oil, it's an amount of oil that wouldn't be able to tan the leather. It would only be able to shine it, to polish it. Meaning, there's not enough oil to really affect the consistency of the leather itself, to change the leather. It's only an amount to, on the surface, it polishes it on the surface. It's not a large quantity of oil that will really tan the leather, that will penetrate into the leather itself and fundamentally change its characteristic. It's only a little bit amount that could polish it. So there, if it's only a little bit of oil, it's that small shear of oil, and it's done in an indirect manner, that's where it's mutter. But if it's a large amount of oil, then if it's done in an indirect manner, then it would be also, whether his intent is to polish or whether his intent is to tan, and even if it's indirect, it would be also. It's only a small amount of oil where the intent is not, well, it will not be able to tan the leather, and it's done in an indirect manner, only then is it mutter. Ton Rabbanan la yetze katan b'minol gadol. A katan, a child, should not go with a large shoe. If it's a large shoe, it might fall off, and then the person might come to carry it. Aval yetze b'chol gadol. But if he has a large shirt or a large tunic, then we're not concerned, because it's not likely to fall off. He's not likely to take it off, and therefore we're not concerned that he might come to carry it. And a woman should not go out with a torn shoe, with a shoe that the top of it is torn, because we're afraid, similarly, she'll be embarrassed with it. The woman is more particular about appearances than the man, and therefore we're afraid that she'll be embarrassed and therefore come to carry it, remove it, and come to carry it. You should not use a torn shoe for chalitza, where they're performing the mitzvah of chalitza in order to release her from the yavam. You should not use a torn shoe. But the eved, if it was done, it is kosher. You can't go out with a new shoe. You can't go out with a new shoe on Shabbos. That the one that we're talking about over here is a woman's shoe. If it's a new shoe, she shouldn't go out with it, because if she hasn't gone out with it, she maybe hasn't sufficiently tried it on and worn it, and it might be too big or too small, and she'll come to take it off and to carry it. They qualify that statement. That's only if she has not gone out previously, at least once before Shabbos. But if she already wore it Erev Shabbos, so it's tested already, that's sufficient for us not to be concerned that she might come to carry it. You can remove a shoe on the form. The shoemaker, the way they made it in those days was they had a form that was in the shape of a foot, and the shoemaker would fashion the shoe on that form, and then when it was finished, then he would remove it from the form. Until it's removed from that form, while it's still on the form that the shoemaker made that shoe with, we say, so there's a machlokes, it seems to be a stira, whether you can remove the shoe from the form on Shabbos or not. So what's the basis of this machlokes? Like kasha, ha Rabbi Eliezer, ha Rabbanan. It really is depending on the machlokes Rabbi Eliezer Rabbanan. Do we consider the shoe in that state to be muksa or not? Do we consider it to be a finished kli, or is it not a finished kli? And if it's not a finished kli, a kli that's in the process of being manufactured, a kli that's still in production, is not a kli yet, and therefore it's muksa. So when the shoe is now being fashioned by the shoemaker, it's muksa. Now that it's completed, but it's still on the form, do we consider it to be completed and it's a regular shoe which is not muksa, or do we consider it to be that it's in production, and that it's still being processed and it is muksa? This now we learned in the Mishnah, Minol Shagabi Imus, Rabbi Eliezer Matar V'chom Metamim. Rabbi Eliezer Matar, he considers it not to be a finished kli, and therefore it's not Makabel Tuma. Raw material is not Makabel Tuma. A kli that's not been completed, that's still in progress, is not a finished kli, is not Makabel Tuma. Rabbi Eliezer holds that in this case, since the shoemaker did not remove it from the form, it's not completed, and therefore it's Torah. Chachamim Metamim, they say it's all completed. There is no Maisa Uman that's required still at this stage. It doesn't require a further expert Uman to remove it from the Imus. So for all intents and purposes, it's complete. So therefore, it's considered a Kli, and it is Tomei. So similarly, the Gabi the Hilchos Shabbos, we have the same machlokes. If it's considered a finished Kli, Chacham say it's a finished Kli, then it's not Muksa. And therefore, the Brisa says that Shoimtim Minamagabe Imus is like the Chachamim. According to Rabbi Yehuda, it's not a finished Kli, so it's Tor. Similarly, it would be Muksa. And that's the Brisa that says, Ain't Shoimtim. So, Vrek the Gemara Hanichal Rava da Amr Davish in Malachta Davish Malachta Isser Ben Litzarach Kufa Ben Litzarach Makaima Motor. Well, all that's fine and good, according to Rava, who holds that a Davish Malachta Li Isser, a Kli that's Malachta Li Isser, is Mutal Litzarach Kufa Makaima. So, therefore, over here, that when you remove the shoe from the shoe form, from the imus is a kli shemlach. It's used to make shoes, which is something which is also on Shabbos. Now, when you remove the shoe from the form, well, it's fine to say that the shoe is not muksa, but you're also moving the form, and the form is muksa. Now, according to Rava, it's fine because he holds, yes, it's muksa, but it's a kli shemalach l'yisr. And a kli shemalach l'yisr is a mutal tzarach gufa. If you need it itself for a certain purpose, let's say to crack nuts, or tzarach makaimai. So now you want to use the makaim, it is placed in the shoe. You want to use that place to put your foot in it. So therefore, it's mutter. So according to Rava, we understand it's shapir. But according to Abai, who says no, it's only mutter l'tzorach gufay, but l'tzorach mekaimai, it's also. Now here, how can he be metaltal the form? Just because he needs the place where it's resting, the interior of the shoe, according to Abaye, it's a klisha malachal yisr, it's arach makayim. That's also. More answers, we're dealing over here in the case where it's loose. So therefore, he can slip off the shoe without being metaltal the form of the imus, and therefore, the chamol, the shoe is not muksa. It's loose, he doesn't have to be metaltal the imus, so it's mutter. The Sanya, Rabbi Yehuda Imer, Imaya Rafim mutter. Rabbi Yehuda says it's mutter if it's loose. So that, according to Baya, we understand it. Frek the Gemara, but now we'll ask the other way. Time the Rafoi, it's mutter. Rabbi Yehuda says it's mutter. Well, it's mashma dafka because it's loose. Ha loy Rafoi loy, but if it would not be loose, it's also. So forget, now the kash is the other way. So now we understand, according to Abai, why is there this prerequisite that it has to be loose, because according to Abai, you would not be able to metaltel the imus, the form, because it's a dover shemalach l'isser, and it's not mutter l'sarach mekayma. But Rava the Omar ben l'sarach kufa ben l'sarach mekayma mutter. But according to Rava, that says it's mutter regardless, even l'sarach mekayma it's mutter. Why does it have to be loose? Ma'ir yarafe afil loy rafe nami. Even if it's not loose, it should also be mutter. The Gemara answers, Ha'i the Rabbi Yehuda mishun Rabbi Elazar. Now, that Rabbi Yehuda is saying that it has to be loose is because he's saying it in the opinion of Rabbi Yehuda, of Rabbi Elazar rather. Rabbi Yehuda is saying that following the shita of Rabbi Elazar. That's why he qualifies it and says that it has to be loose. Because Rabbi Elazar said that the shoe is also muksa. You have two issues over here. There's the form. Now, if the shoe is loose, according to Abaye, you don't have to move the form, so therefore there's no problem. According to Rava, however, it doesn't matter if it's loose. You'd be allowed to be metal to the form because there's a klish malach to lisa soref mekaymai. But that Rabbi Yehuda says that it has to be tongue where it's loose is for the other issue, for the shoe, as far as the shoe is concerned. And he's going according to Rabbi Eliezer. According to Rabbi Eliezer, he holds the shoe on the imus on the form as muksa. It requires to remove it off. It hasn't been completed until it's removed. But if it's loose, if it's already partially removed from there, then Rabbi Eliezer would be maida that in such a case it's considered completed and not muksa. So therefore, Rabbi Yehuda is saying, Lefi the sheet of Rabbi Eliezer, that the shoe is muksa But if it's loose, then it's already considered to be completed, and it's mutter. The Sanya Rabbi Yehuda Omer Mishum Rabbi Eliezer Im Haya Rofo Mutter. If it's loose, then it's a kli, then it's mutter. Hadron lach toilen, hadron lach toilen, hadron lach toilen. The new perek noitel. Look the Mishnah. Noitel Adam es benoi ve'en b'yadam. A person can carry his son, even though the son's carrying a stone, and the stone is muksa. He's allowed to carry the son, the child, who's carrying the dover muksa. Tanan noitel Adam es benoi ve'en b'yadam. We learned in our Mishnah that you're allowed to carry a child with the stone in his hand. Now, according to Rava, who said by the tinek with the kiss, it's considered like the person is carrying the kiss. Over here, it should be considered like the person is carrying the stone. So why should it be mutter? The stone is muksa. Over here, we're talking about a child that he has a longing for his father, and the father doesn't carry him, we're afraid that the child will become sick. So normally we wouldn't allow the person to carry the child with the stone, because it is considered like carrying the muksa. But over here, since the child is yesh l'gaguin, the child is sick, therefore we over here make an exception and we allow him to carry the child who's carrying the stone. If that's the case, my area, even nami. If that's the case, and it's yesh l'gaguin, and we're saying that they made an exception in such a case because otherwise the child might, Rahman al-Islam, get sick. So even if it's something that's valuable, afilu dinar, even a coin, we should say the same thing. But we see not that way. We see with that dinner it's also more answers. The answer is that a stone, we are make an exception for the law of muksa. Now, if the stone happens to fall down, we're not concerned that the father will go ahead and pick it up. So there's no chashash that he might come to a deraisa carrying. But dinner enough lasuya. But by dinner, there's a separate consideration. In Hanami, we would be mater the muksa on account of the gagumi that the child has for the father. However, we're afraid if the coin falls down, the father, it's valuable, the father might come and go pick it up, and he might come to carry Dalad Amas, and there's just a rabbim, and it's the Chiyav Deraisa. Therefore, we do not make this exception in the case of a dinar, only in the case of the stone.